similar to CAE Tech Talk as far as, it's an online delivery platform where we're sharing ideas and learning. But with CAE Forum, our goal is really to do presentations that are non-technical in nature, right? So CAE Tech Talk is where we do technical presentations on cybersecurity, and CAE Forum is where we do non-technical presentations that are of interest to the CAE community. So this is our very first CAE Forum, and Anna, this is going to make you famous. So anyway, just want to tell you how happy we are to have you. Now, the folks out there, we have a nice, cozy attendance going on here. It's just looking at the people logged in. This is fantastic. If you're hearing me okay, in the chat box, type in the name of the school that you're from. I'm just kind of curious about, what schools people are from and what part of the country they're logging in from. It's just kind of interesting. Also wanted to mention that we're aiming to do CAE Forum once a month during the fall and spring semesters, and we're going to aim for the third Wednesday of each month. Now, we may have to adjust that sometimes because sometimes we come up on a holiday and we have to move it to either a week after or a week before. So we'll just make those adjustments as we need to. Anyway, I think that's all I have to say. I'm just very, very excited about CAE Forum and the potential and the possibilities of what we're going to do today and going forward into the future. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn the floor over to Anna Carlin from Fullerton College. So Anna, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, tell us something about you, and then go right on into your presentation.
Great, thanks, Brian. My name is Anna Carlin, and I'm with Fullerton College. I was previously with Cal Poly Pomona for quite a few years and decided I wanted to go to a community college and try and leverage our internship program at a community college level and start building that there. And so as a part of CyberWatch West, I was able to work on that and create a internship model. And in one of the areas that helped me tremendously in building it was being associated or being a member of a professional association, which really made me start thinking about how we need to leverage professional associations. Before I went into teaching, I was working in industry as an IT auditor, operations manager, software development, and the only way I could stay up on some of the new advances going on out there was by being a member of a professional association. And so moving to academia is when I realized, we really need to start building a partnership there, but also for the professional associations to really take a look at where is their future workforce coming from and how they can positively impact that. But one things I wanted to do before we get into the presentation is get a sense of who's here. So I want to do a poll. Let's see. Here we go. So let's see. I just have, it looks like 4 questions. So let me go ahead and launch it and get a sense of who y'all are so I can tailor my comments to it. So if you can start indicating on the first question as far as whether you're an educator or a student, do you belong to a professional association? Are you active in that association? And do you have any kind of certs coming out of those associations? Let's give it about 10 more seconds. All right, so let's see, we've got a pretty close group between educators as well as students. I'm pleased to see over half belong to a professional association and are active in it, which is great. And then as far as the certs, The majority don't have it. Okay, great. This will help me tailor my comments. So what I wanted to do in the presentation here today is go over the purpose of professional associations and some of the benefits. And I'm going to zero in on ISACA, but also mention what some of the other professional associations are doing in a similar area, and really get at that certification and what the professional association can help your organization build your program, provide input on the curriculum that you've put together. And then honestly, if you've got any questions, I know I have this slide at the end, feel free to type it in the chat room as we're going through here, and we'll be able to address those as they're coming up. So there are numerous professional associations out there, and I just zeroed in on the ones more widely known in the area of cybersecurity. So you've got the IEEE, and they have different special interest groups, of which cybersecurity is one of them. You have ISACA, that was traditionally an IT audit type of profession, in that you were looking at governance, risk, and compliance, now aggressively getting into cybersecurity. You've got the ISSA, the Information Systems Security Association. Quite a few cyber czars for the president have come out of that professional association. Another one you might not be as familiar with is the HTCIA, and that's the High Technology Crime Investigation Association. Initially started more from a computer forensics perspective, and are now also getting into the security realm. And of course, another widely known one is the ISC Square, for those of you out there that have one of their certifications. But the overall view or purpose of professional associations is to really further a profession, whether it's cybersecurity or software development, whatever the case may be. And so in your area of expertise, you want to align with the professional association that is known for the career path that you want to go into, and they're going to be giving you a view or insight into what are the skills needed to go into that career path. All of these organizations create and maintain standards that you may run into in the workplace to see if you're trying to figure out how do I implement a new security policy, they'll have guidelines on how to do that. And even what are some security policies out there if you're not sure what you should do. And they really represent the profession in discussions with other bodies, whether it be legislative or regulatory bodies. They're also very involved when the NIST drafts of publication come out. They have groups that will sit down and take a look at that and provide feedback on them. So they're a very collaborative group. And there are times when I ask my students to go to one of the professional association meetings, and they give me this deer in the headlight look in the classroom. And I said, these are really nice people. They have all been where you have been, sitting here in the classroom thinking about, is this a field that I want to go into? What are some of the challenges associated with it? And how do I stay up with everything going on? So I always encourage them to go. The first professional association meeting is always the most difficult for them. And then when they see what a welcoming group that they are, and that they're interested in a college student, why? And really, they have passion for their field. That's why they belong to that association. And then once they go one time, then it's not unusual for me to see them at subsequent meetings. So they just kind of need that incentive of either me requiring it in the classroom or providing extra credit as a part of it to just get them there once, because then I know they'll be hooked. Numerous benefits can be achieved with the professional associations. The first bullet I have here is regarding curriculum. You can invite them to be on your advisory board, and they're like consultants. They're telling you what they're seeing out in industry. They're also giving you a sense of whether you know, you need to have that introductory to operating systems class as a part of your digital forensics program or not, and why that is important or not as important as it used to be. They can talk about some of the exploits out there and where they're seeing that they need a different skill set to address that. And so it's really interesting sitting down and getting free consultation on your curriculum. They can also be guest speakers to your classes as well. As you know, in this field, even though we say cybersecurity, there's folks that love to focus on the network side. Some are all about the vulnerabilities at the web application layer. And so having them come in and speak about what they're doing at work reinforces what you're sharing with the students, in that this is important in the field. Here is somebody that is dealing with this day in and day out. And again, because they have interest in that topic, that just shows from the guest speaker into the class. And it's not just you as a instructor saying that this is important, it's validating what you're sharing with them in the classroom. Several of the professional associations like to partner with student clubs that have a focus that's aligned with their overall mission as well, and often will provide discounted memberships. They'll also potentially discount the dinner meetings, and I always use them to come in and speak at some of the club meetings, depending on what the topic is that student club membership is interested in hearing more about. And again, that's getting the professional association to your college campus. And especially if they're an alumni from your program, oh, it's that much easier to get them back on campus. And if they talk about a professor that was key when they were going through the program there, I always made sure that I would invite that professor, but I wouldn't tell the person coming to speak at the club meeting and just have them show up. And it was just a wonderful way of encouraging them to reconnect with your campus. And as always, most of these professional associations will issue some certifications. Some are very widely known. Other might be a smaller niche type of certification. Like ISACA has their COBIT 5 Foundation, which it's COBIT 1 was actually created with by a group of individuals that were part of ISACA's membership, but also students from the graduate program at Cal Poly Pomona in Southern California. So it's really interesting seeing it go through several iterations to where it is today, thinking that, wow, there was a collaboration between this university and a professional association to create this widely adopted standard out there. And I'm going to focus on ISACA right now. As I mentioned, they provide guidance in the growing field of auditing controls over computer systems. They have about 140,000 members worldwide. They've got public and private forums for members where you can share experiences or say, hey, anybody had experience with this, that you can collaborate with somebody halfway around the world on an issue you might be facing in your organization. And some of the things that they've done is they've launched a model curricula project. They have the Academic Advocate Project. They have student groups and certifications. So I just want to step through each one of those.
And take a picture with them and stuff like that. So
is there a question there?
I think
Supposed to be warm out,
funny.
yeah, that'd be funny. But if it's cold out and then they can't find anyone, I feel really bad.
That's
It's
true.
supposed to be 73 on Sundays. So I think
We're getting some background noise, so if you could mute your speaker, or thank you, I appreciate it. So ISACA has the model curricula, which the intent is to offer educators curriculum development support and outline the academic training that would prepare students for entry-level positions in the industry. And so this is a guideline for universities putting together a program and sharing with them any kind of resources that they have that they can pull into the classroom. And so for ISACA, they've created quite a few case studies that you can use in your class, and they ask you to share that with anybody in the class, but also give you the answer key, so to speak. And if you're not familiar with the topic, there's usually an instructor manual as well. And these were typically developed by academics like yourself, or it could be somebody in industry that wants to share their expertise. And so that's available for you. And again, the model curricula gives you a sense of what skills students are going to need for entry-level positions. Graduates of the program that are designated in alignment with the model curricula will qualify for 1 week of work experience towards the CISA or the CISM designation. So CISA is a designation, Certified Information Systems Auditor, which I have that one. It's been in existence for quite some time, but it's a test on the body of knowledge that IT auditors would be required to know from a governance, risk, compliance, security aspect. The CISM is the Certified Information Systems Manager, which are the actual practitioners of implementing all of that. So as an IT auditor, you get to critique what everybody is doing and give them recommendations on how they might be able to address the risk or the exposure. Whereas the CISM, these are the folks that actually get to fix it. And more often than not, they're going to do it in consultation with the IT auditors to make sure that they're understanding the risk or exposure, and that the next time the auditors come through, they're not going to have that finding on their audit report. It'll be fixed once and for all. ISACA also has the academic advocate, and what this does is it provides to faculty teaching in certain disciplines such as audit, accounting, information systems, I've listed them all here, cybersecurity, enterprise governance, risk management, and given them complementary membership. So it removes that barrier of the cost associated with joining the professional association. And part of that is that you will promote their professional associations, such as ISACA, to recruit student members, get students to start attending your professional association meetings, as well as giving you access to some of those classroom resources that you don't have to develop yourself, and implement those directly into.
Since his confirmation hearing in January, when he very famously told that committee under oath that he hadn't talked to any Russians during the campaign, even though.
And so the other thing here is that most of the professional associations have research committees, and they will have a variety of topics that they want to sponsor research being done. And it could be creating white papers, it could be working on creating standards, things along those lines, that faculty have been able to partner with ISACA on something that they come together to have a mutual interest on. And so it's not just you doing all of the research, you have people potentially from around the world working on the same committee to create a product that can share what your research has shown and what value it has to other individuals interested in something like that. It's a good way of getting your name as well as your college's or university's name out there as well. ISACA has student groups, which are much like you might hear them called student charters with, I want to say, HTCIA, student clubs under IEEE and ISSA. So they're really organized under university guidelines. So it's typically already a club on your campus that's going to be supported by the local chapter. And what ISACA has done is, once you go through and show that you're chartered on your campus, that you've got a faculty advisor that has a either a research focus in an area that's aligned with the professional association or a member of the professional association, then they're what we call officially recognized by ISACA, and they post it on their international website. And when I was at Cal Poly Pomona, we were one of the student groups for the Los Angeles chapter. And there were times where I would get emails from somebody in Europe asking us, you know, if we've had speakers come in and talk about X, Y, and Z, or we've done workshops that were supported by the ISACA LA chapter, would we be able to share that information with them so they could replicate it there? So having that presence on ISACA's international website allows people to have a contact with you to start sharing experiences. The campus groups provide very valuable connections for the students and familiarize themselves with career opportunities after graduation. So as I mentioned, I would require my students to go to one of the professional associations to their meeting, because some are at lunchtime, some are on the evenings, some may have activities on the weekends. And I live in Southern California, so most of our students are working outside of schools. So their schedules are pretty tight to begin with. So I didn't say you had to go to ISACA. All I cared is that they went to one of them. And you saw the, what was it, 5 or 6 that I listed on a previous slide. And there was enough flexibility there that they can get in with one. But part of it is not only get an exposure to a professional association, but get them to start networking with other professionals. And I would always encourage them, I know you're going to go and have your wingman from one of your classes go with you, but when you go to the professional association, don't just hang with other students. Start networking with people in the chapter. Share with them that, you know, I'm a college student, I'm trying to figure this all out. And you'll be amazed at some of the connections out there, and you might be talking to a future employer. And they'll give you a better sense of the career opportunities. Our field is very diverse. And so if you don't enjoy networking that you want to do it 8 to 10 hours a day, there's other facets of cybersecurity. Yes, you still need to have the knowledge of that, but it doesn't mean that you need to be in it day in and day out. So for ISACA, they have 35 student groups in North America. I'm on the board for the LA chapter. I also head up their academic relations committee. And so we've got 2 in the LA chapter, and we have another 57 additional student groups around the world. So it's not unusual that every once in a while I'll have one of our student groups contact one from, you know, halfway around the world just to see what are they doing with ISACA. One of the things we like to do at ISACA, and I see this with IEEE and HTCIA and the other associations, is find those events on college campuses that are encouraging students to go into our field, but also give them insight into the challenges of the field and how they can prepare better. So for the LA chapter of ISACA, on October, we always have a career night. And this is usually placed at a time for the May or June graduates. Most of our employers are coming in during the fall looking for them. And we want them to be prepared for that opportunity of interacting with employers, get their resume together, get their, you know, the typical interview questions done as well, and being able to just really prepare themselves. So we do that every October. We'll probably have a pre-meeting workshop with a resumaniac where bring it in, and there's going to be HR people from different companies that are really going to give you great feedback on ways to improve your resume. And for the HR departments, it's their way of making sure of helping the students, but also identifying talent early in the recruiting season for that. And some of the other activities that we would sponsor is having student poster sessions at key events that are aligned with what our association is all about. And so here you see a picture of a student, and I want to say this was at a cybersecurity and awareness fair that we were hosting at Cal Poly Pomona. And we sponsored the award for the top 3 posters from that that event. We also, it's not unusual to do it at the ISACA LA has a spring conference that it's a regional conference. We've done student poster sessions there. HTCIA has done it at their international conference. So there's a lot of conferences that are starting to bridge the gap with the different different academic institutions and be able to start bringing in people into our field. There's a high demand for it. At Cal Poly Pomona, there's an IT competition every year, and I want to say it's got to be well over 15 years in process. And so what our professional association has done is, yes, we provide them money to help run the event, but it's one of those events where students are given a business problem and then they're asked to provide a solution. And so as a part of that, what they do is submit a formal report a week before, and a panel of judges evaluate it and make sure that they are, hold on a second. Sorry about that. Making sure that for the panel of judges, we pulled that from our ISACA membership and said, hey, we're looking for folks that would want to spend a Saturday with students from all over Southern California and give them feedback on the what do you call it, on the proposals that they sent through as a part of the competition. And again, they're also looking for talent and trying to get ahead of that recruiting season in the fall. This is a great way to get out there. We also sponsor the Collegiate Cyber Defense Competition, so we're in the Western region. And usually on Saturday night, we have a networking mixer with all of our sponsors that are at a certain level and higher. And so these organizations have paid money to get into that room to converse with over 60 competitors for the event that have gone above and beyond what they're doing in the classroom to compete in something like this. And so what ISACA will do, and a couple of other professional associations, is just come in and talk about what they do, and realizing that, no, we're not hiring you, but we know that whoever does hire you will want to have you a part of a professional association to keep up with what's happening in the field. Cyber Tech Girls. This is where most of the professional associations are trying to focus on activities that would help with underrepresented groups in the cybersecurity or the IT world, which we know women are definitely underrepresented. And so I work on Cyber Tech Girls with some other individuals, and what we hope to do is just give them a broad picture of what the IT career paths are. Cybersecurity is definitely one of those, but show them it's not a big scary world out there and that we've got a lot to contribute. So ISACA will solicit for folks to come in and help with the activities on the day of the event, or any other kind of support, whether it's financial or otherwise, to the event to help further that. Let's see, Michael said I'd also like to add AFCEA, and in regard to the list, absolutely, especially in the Maryland, VA, DC area. InfraGard's a wonderful organization. And as I mentioned earlier, use the professional associations to come speak at the club meetings. Sometimes they'll give you tours of of their facility. It's not unusual for, we have an RCFL close by here in Southern California, for them to give a tour so that students can see, if you go into forensics or maybe incident response, we've got a regional computer forensics laboratory right in our own backyard here. And they can also interact with the individuals that are providing the tour for them, asking them questions about the field. And it's really just to gather as much information as they possibly can to make better decisions about, what career path do I want to go into? What kind of organizations do I want to work for? And making sure that they start working on this sooner as opposed to later. For me, it was frustrating as a professor that I've got a great student in my class that's going to be graduating in a month and says, I haven't even started looking for a job yet. And I would say, okay, you're a bit behind, but let me tell you the various things that you can do to help put yourself in front of employers, and make sure that you're going through the process of figuring out what you want to do, who do you want to work for, and having a focused approach to that position after graduation. Most of the professional associations are going to have some type of certification coming out there. Most of you are familiar with the CISSP from ISC Square, has been out there for some time. Most of these that I've got mentioned on the slide here are what we call typical knowledge-based exams, where you're indicating by passing it that you've mastered the knowledge in this field. Some of them require knowledge and work experience to be fully certified, like the CISSP, and most of those from ISACA as well. And so that, to me, gives employers a good sense when you have those certifications is, okay, I'm just not, I'm not only textbook smart, but I also know how to apply this. And that speaks volumes to your marketability to an organization, but it also shows your commitment to the field that you're going into. And so we always like to share with students that they have a responsibility for continuing education. And as a part of that, certifications could be something that you would want to pursue maybe shortly after you start working, or a little bit of time down the road as well. And most of the professional associations, they'll offer you review courses. You don't have to pay the high price tag associated with professional training companies. Is it the slickest looking? Probably not, but it still covers the information that you're going to need to be successful when sitting for the certification. And if you have a more mature chapter of that professional association, it's not unusual for them to subsidize it, in that they're committed to people obtaining that certification and want to make sure that if cost is a barrier for them in attending a review course to be successful when they sit for the exam, they're going to offer those at a subsidized rate as well. So it's getting back to what is the purpose and the overall mission for the professional association. Will show you some of the areas that they're definitely sinking their heart, their energy, but also their money into as well. And so I'd like to open up the floor. I put my contact information here to see what folks' thoughts are on professional associations, how else they've been able to partner with them in their at their university, or if you just have any questions or want to make a plug for another professional association, that would be great too.
Hello.
Hello.
Question about requirements for the CISA exam. So we have a 2-year program in cybersecurity at Valencia College, and we're adding a new specialization in information system security auditing. And we would love to be able to prepare our students for and uncover the blueprint of that certification exam. But my understanding, there's also work experience. Is there a way to substitute college credits or outreach activities with professional experience or industry experience?
For the CISA exam, if you've gone through the process of getting your curriculum identified as model curricula, that would substitute for a year of work experience, which then at that point, they just need another year. I'm not aware of outreach activities that would substitute for work experience, but I definitely, if you go through the model curricula process, that will get a year out of the 2 years.
Okay, yes. So it isn't really realistic to say that students will be prepared to get the actual certification at the end of the program. They have to be in the industry working for at least another year to get the certification.
That's right. But what we found at Cal Poly Pomona is most of the students it was our master's program that was actually the model curricula, is most of them were working full-time in industry and going to school at night. So after a series of 3 classes, we would say, sit for the CISA, you're ready for it. And it just came together between having the industry experience and taking the classes, helped set them up for that, as well as being a model curricula. Took a year off of that.
Okay, thank you for that explanation. Have you seen that model being applied in 2-year programs at all anywhere in the nation?
You know, I haven't. I would probably need to go back to the ISACA.org website and see what the guidelines are for model curricula, if a 2-year school would be a part of that. I don't believe they say it has to be a 2 or a 4-year. They're looking at what are the classes that you have in place, and does that meet the requirements?
Okay. I'd love to learn some more from you about this. Can I reach you sometime, maybe on email or,
Oh, certainly.
today?
Yeah, my email address is there on the screen. Feel free to reach out.
Got it. Thank you so much for the information.
You're welcome.
Hey folks, I see that there's a couple of hands raised out there. I see that there is Gregor and there's also Dr. Sandra Blank. So Gregor, do you have a question? Why don't you go ahead and either type it in or talk into your mic, whichever is convenient for you. Okay, looks like Gregor's not responding. Dr. Sandra Blank, are you there? If you have your mic, go ahead and ask your question, or if you want to type it into the chat session, whichever one.
Hi, this is Sandra Blank. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. Hey, Anna, thank you very much. I am from the University of Dallas, and our cybersecurity program is a graduate program, and we are located in the business school. And I totally agree with you about the importance of associations for all of our students. And I think the networking that occurs in all of these organizations is invaluable. And I just wanted to say, at the ISSA organization here in Texas, we have monthly luncheons. They will have some subject matter expertise, and it may be a vendor or it may be someone working in a particular area. It might be cloud technology or DLP or blockchain, those kinds of things. So they'll have a presenter, and then all of the organizations that come, they give them the opportunity to stand up and say if they are looking for someone with a particular skill set, they also give the attendees the opportunities to stand up and say, hey, I have that skill set and I'd like to talk to you afterwards. So for my students who are graduate students, I always encourage them to network at those association meetings, because there's a real small group of people who really know what we know and who work in our area. And if you can network and get in those organizations and talk to those people, then all of our students stand a much better chance of having a really great career in cybersecurity. So thank you, Anna, for seeing the value, for working with your students and ours, and for putting together this presentation.
Oh, it was my pleasure.
Okay,
Yes. Well, Yusuf, again, thank you so much again for the valuable information. I heard you mention at the start of your presentation that college professors could get a free membership with ISACA, and I'm on the website trying to search exactly on how to do that. Is there a specific link that you can share with us? I see there are 3 types of membership: professional membership, recent graduates, and student membership. Could it be the student membership, or is there a different one for professors?
I would suggest just do a search on Academic Advocate. It was under review the last 18 months where they weren't accepting new applications. However, they're going to relaunch that if they haven't already. It sounds like they haven't updated the website.
Thank you.
And that's the hard part for professional associations, is quantifying what impact they're having at colleges and universities. And most of them feel that the number that would help them is how many of these students become members as a student. And then when they go into the profession, they convert to a professional or a full-fledged member at that point, which then they typically charge a lot more money. And I keep sharing with them that that's not, it shouldn't be their focus of how many become members. It's really how many students do you interact with, that you give them a better sense of what their career paths are out there and the field that they're going into, and help them figure those things out. And sometimes it feels like you're giving them a sanity check of, well, you know, I really don't want to travel. Well, most audit positions, you're going to be traveling outside of the office. So we always have this debate of how you quantify the interaction between your professional association and the colleges and universities. And I go based on the number of people that we can interact with, not necessarily whether they become members or not, because each one of the professional associations have their focus area. And if that's not something that you've investigated and decide, you know what, I'm going to cross that off my list, that's not a good match for me, then you're not going to become a member. But you've done a wonderful service to a student in helping them figure out, I should cross this off, or no, hey, I should look at this in more detail. So especially with your graduate students, as Sandra was mentioning, you need to push them to do that. Undergrads, it's really hard to get them there the first time, but once they see the value of it, they'll keep going back. Any other questions or comments? Well, I just want to thank everybody for attending, and feel free to reach out for me or follow me on Twitter. You can find me on LinkedIn as well. Send me a connection request. And I hope that this has helped share with you what value your professional association can serve your college or university, but serve for your students as well. So thanks, everybody.
Hey, Anna, this is Brian. I just want to thank you for that outstanding presentation. This was just really fascinating information. No doubt this is going to be very, very valuable to the CAE community. Also, I just want to do a shout out for Anastasia at Cal State University San Bernardino. They're the ones who are hosting the Zoom platform for us, and she has just done a bang up job putting this platform together and getting it ready. And so I'd also like to say that we have definitely no one can say that we are not a diverse platform. We've had today 28 people and 1 dog attend our presentation. So we have definitely broken a new barrier for diversity, and I'm proud to have it. So all dogs are welcome. Actually, I'm kind of joking. We don't want all the dogs chiming in because it'll get noisy, but it was great to have our very first dog attend. So I'm very, very proud of that. So anyway, folks, Anna, thank you again. Just a fantastic presentation. And we're looking forward to doing this again each month. So also want to tell everybody out there, if you yourselves want to do a presentation on CAE Forum, or if you know of any of your colleagues that may want to do one, please have them reach out to me. And you'll see my name in that flyer that went out. And just reach out to me and we'll get you scheduled up for a presentation. So anyway, I think I'm done talking. And again, Anna, I just want to thank you for everything. Just a fantastic presentation, and thanks for leading off our very first CAE Forum.